bad. Not bad at all. Unless you're the fish, then it's not good.
Well, you're putting them back in.
I'm putting them back in.
Bye.
Goodbye, bug eye.
See you later.
All right.
Where'd he go?
He's right here. There he goes. He's good. Hey everybody, welcome back to the build. I just got a really rare treat. I picked up the mail on the way here, and some friends of ours out in Arizona sent us some best made jalapeno bread and butter pickles from Texas, because he's from Texas, she's from Arizona. Some Arizona Hatch dry heat meat rub. Can't wait to try that out.
Nice.
And some Silencer Smooth Black Rifle coffee. Rich, Lori, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you guys when we get this place built and we can take guests.
Very encouraging. Thank you.
Very encouraging. I've known Rich since high school. Hopefully we'll be showing you guys something really cool coming up here. I know that the foaming is kind of a drag. It's a drag.
So done with it. And I'm having a reaction to it, actually.
Yeah, she got it on her skin, and it's eating her up pretty bad. But we got something really cool coming up with the build in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that.
After we finish the foaming.
Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is opening up the windows. It's a relatively cool day here in Virginia, but the humidity inside the house is a little higher than I would like. It's at 62 right now. Yesterday, we opened the windows for a couple hours and got it down into the low 50s. Oh my God, it feels good. Breeze coming through. But the humidity is low outside right now, so I'm taking advantage of that, trying to dry it out in here a little bit. That breeze coming through feels great. I'm gonna jump on my phone real quick, send a message to Rich and Lori and say thank you. What I'm doing today is more foaming, but I'm not actually gonna do the foaming. I'm gonna come into this bedroom and bathroom, and I'm gonna drill the holes in the ceiling so that when I come in here this weekend, I can hopefully get this room and the next room done in one day. That would be killer. It looks like there's not that much to do. The only issue is there's a lot of moving of the ladder. So we'll find out how bad that is. Since I've been doing this for a while, I'm learning a little bit. I want to share a couple of tips if anybody ends up doing this with a SIPS house. So as we said in the last video, if you're not familiar with it, we're building a 2,500 square foot SIPS house here. And these are SIPS panels. This is 7/16 inch thick OSB sandwiched on a foam core. Now the walls are 6.5 inch thick total, and the roof is about 10.5 inch thick total, which means you've got about 9.5 inches of foam in the roof. That's why I've got about 6.5 inches before I've got this little stop here to keep me from drilling too deep. And I check it from time to time just to make sure that I haven't, that it hasn't slipped or anything's happened to it. But when you put the panels together, it's extremely strong, but there's a space when you meet up the panels together where air could potentially go through. And it will. I mean, if you have hot air, it's going to find every crack and crevice and move its way out of the building. So if you have hot air, especially in the wintertime, hot air, it's going to go out. That's going to create an opportunity for cold air and hot air to meet. You're going to get some perspiration, some condensation, and that can puddle up and it can start rotting out your ceiling. So what you do to prevent that is you drill every 6 inches, and there are 2 channels in there. Now I've drawn this out. I'm using my cell phone here, so hopefully I can hold it steady enough to explain everything. What I've drawn out is a SIPS panel. This would be the OSB, and a sandwich of foam. This is what it looks like at the edge of a 6-inch panel. The recess actually comes in a little bit more here on the end. The way you join these 2 panels together is you take an OSB spline that's about 3 inches long. You put a little bit of sealant in each one of these channels. You stick the spline in there on both sides, bring the panels together, and then you drive a nail every 6 inches all along the edge of both panels. That joins the panel together. But inside here, you have a void. You would have a void anyway because that's a space that you're bringing two pieces together. It's not going to seal tight. The reason for drilling the holes in there is you come from the inside, you drill holes into it. On this one, you would go, this is a wall panel. So on the wall panels, you're going to drill in about 3 inches. You pump that full of foam, and you want to fill that cavity with foam so it seals everything up and you don't have air transfer going through it. I drew this one out because that's what the roof panels look like. You still have the same 7/16 inch OSB skin on outside, and then you have 2 channels in there. So that's why I go a little bit deeper with the drill and I pump the foam in, trying to fill both of those channels with foam. I hope that helps. So what you do to prevent that is you drill every 6 inches, and there are 2 channels in there at the edge of both panels so that you can pump some foam into it. That expanding foam fills those channels, and it basically blocks any air from being able to move through. I'm using a 3/8 inch drill bit. The tube that we use that goes on the end of the foam gun is 3/8 inch outer diameter. Sometimes you have a little bit of trouble getting that tube in there. So when you're working that drill in, you want to give it a little English at the end just to try and widen the hole a bit. You could go with a bigger hole, but I think the next thing up would probably be about a 1/2 inch. And that might be a little bit too big. I don't know. I didn't try it. We're almost done, so I'm just going to stick with this and keep on with what's been working.
We were asked why we didn't just use rigid foam and fasten it to the roof. That would increase the R value, but it wouldn't do anything to stop the air intrusion.
Well, I finished the front room, got everything drilled out for this weekend. I'm getting ready to jump in the tractor and do a little bit of mowing since light's fading inside the house, but it's still bright enough outside that I can get some work done. Jafana says this is the biggest black widow spider she has ever seen over here on this spike aerator that I still haven't repaired. Oh my God, that thing's the size of a marble.
It probably ate like so many of its male counterparts. Like how many men did that spider eat?
I don't know. That is a big girl.
Wait, let's see if we can get it come out. That is it.
You're not just gonna grab it and pull it out?
No. Here.
Here, hold my soda.
It's got like. What are you gonna do?
See if I can get it to come out.
Oh my God.
Was he gonna spit on me? Shoot its venom or something? There we go. That is a big monster spider. Yep. That is. All right, I'm gonna jump in the tractor and get this done, baby. So the tiers that we put in are starting to look pretty good. Jafana put some, we already had some fescue up here, and she put some Zoya grass plugs in here a couple weeks ago. And I don't know what those look like, so I really don't. Okay, I see it right there.
So I really want the Zoya to take over, but it's expensive for the plugs, so let's just see what it does. In this area, it doesn't like the fescue.
Yep.
So let's see if the Zoya can come in.
And this little lower tier we put in here, it still needs to be pulled and graded properly. I'm gonna have to do some adjustment over here on the side, but right now we've got some buckwheat and some fescue on there, just kind of setting up a root system and creating a little bit of thatch inside the soil. Building soil and building a field is a process. It takes time. Good morning. It is an absolutely gorgeous day up here on the mountain today. Now, we were up here yesterday. Unfortunately, we got pulled off. I got a call from work, had to go in and help somebody. Thought it was going to be about an hour and a half. Turned out to be a 9-hour job, so I'm back on it today. We have, well, we just got more foaming. That's really all we got. But it's supposed to be about 90 degrees today. It's already in the 80s here. Inside, it is 77 degrees. Show you what we got going on here. What I plan to do today, we went ahead yesterday, I was able to get it cleaned before I got called. I cleaned up all the sawdust. I have drilled all the holes in this front room. Now I say front room, it's actually 2 rooms. This is the bathroom, and this is a bedroom. But I've got all the holes drilled all the way up in the whole thing, in this whole section of the house. I have 8 cans of foam. I have 5 cases of foam on order. They're gonna be here next week. 8 cans of foam should be more than enough to do this room and a little bit out in the main room. We've still got a little bit out there to do. We're gonna go ahead and hit it hard. I wanna get on it right away because, like I said, it's gonna be up in the 90s today. Inside here, even with the fan going, it's probably gonna hit about 81, 82. It's gonna be fun.
Hot as pepper.
Hot as a pepper. So we're gonna jump on it real quick, start pumping some foam up into the roof. And I've had a lot of questions from people about the SIPS construction. Would I use it again? The SIPS construction, why am I putting the foam on there? How come I'm not putting rigid foam up there instead of using the pump foam? I'm gonna go ahead and explain all of that today. At the end, I put in the second half of the Q&A we did last week, but right now, I'm gonna jump on it.
When you're the builder and the owner, you worry about the bottom line. This ram board is pricey, so we try to use it until it can't be used anymore.
I'll sit there and I'll hold the trigger for about, at this stage in the game, about 10 to 15 seconds. When it's a new can, it'll probably be about 8 seconds. And you can still see the foam working its way through that long tube. You can see there's some foam on the stick. I just basically wipe it off so I've got a fairly clean stick for the next time I use it. Not much scientific here. And I'm just pulling it down and pumping a little bit more in there so I can fill both the top and the bottom channels. Because the roof is 10.5 inches thick, so you've got one that's about 6.5 inches in and the other one's about 3.5 inches in. Yep. Something interesting here. When I pump it, you can hear it. I'm gonna get another ladder on the other side here and drill these holes out a little bit better. Completely safe, don't worry. This procedure has been OSHA approved.
So we're almost done with this room.
Don't try this at home, I'm a professional.
Who's paying you?
YouTube. YouTube is paying me. Handsomely.
Yeah.
And And Google.
The Googles?
Yeah.
Don't quit your day job.
Yeah. There was a Chinese company that wanted me to advertise some stuff that I wouldn't buy. So they're not paying me because I said no.
You got to catch a fish yesterday.
I did. And it was a very nice fish too.
So we got this section, the next section,
We got
and
this, we've got the other front section, our master bedroom, and we've got a little bit left in the main room.
but we need a ladder for that.
We need a ladder for most of that. Plus, we also have 3 cans of foam left right now, so we will have 5 cases coming this week.
So, but in the meantime, we could move everything up into the, and we could put the board OSB on
Yeah.
the walls.
There's plenty of work to do. There's no shortage of work. We're not going to run out of stuff to do. Well, this room is done. Bedroom and bathroom. Ceiling's dripping with foam, but the carnage isn't too bad. Got to come in here and sand it anyway. Got to get my little arrow off of there to indicate which side was up. It's 89 degrees outside and 80 degrees inside.
You gotta go film Paula's nose.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't have any foam on his nose. Good buddy. Now we're almost out of foam. We've got that room done. I'll probably come back tomorrow in the morning before it gets warm and start doing some more drilling. Now Jafana used all that water that was in that tote. I got to get the tractor hooked up, take that thing down there and fill it up. Farming, I break things. Sometimes I don't know how I broke them, but I break them. I broke a roll pin. It's at least 3/8 of an inch thick. I don't know how I broke it. There must have been a tremendous amount of force against it, but I sheared the thing right off. Now, there's supposed to be a pin sticking through here. You can see it on this one. It sticks through. It's pretty darn chunky. I went and bought some replacements, and hopefully one of those will fit. But honestly, I have no idea how I managed to break that thing. Really, the best way to do this would be if I had a vise. I got one down by the pond. I might end up having to go get that. That fits into the, what the heck are you? Glad I didn't smack it. That's a honeybee. Why in the world is a honeybee on my leg? You know, maybe it's not a honeybee. That might be a mason bee or something. I don't know, but I'm glad I didn't smack it just the same. I think they're harvesting the salt off my skin right now. Let's see if I can make this thing work. This is only a 1/4 inch. It actually looks like it's working. That pinched my finger. Woo. Wear and tear. This spring pin here has been broken for a while. This thing is not in good shape. Maybe it's the 5/16. Sure don't look like it. Looks like it would have been the bigger one. I guess we'll find out how it stands up. So next time this happens, I don't have to travel so far to fix it. I guess I'll throw the punch pins in here too. Now I gotta get these guys to let go of me and fly off. Go on now. Go on, fly away. Fly. Go on. You know, you don't take it easy, do you? You don't. Come on. There you go. Or not. Come on. Come on. There you go. Let's get this door shut. Always happy. Wish I could be happy like that all the time. Here we go, here we go. Don't walk the road alone. Now we've got this one right here, and it's got that same type outlet as the one up on the hill. You guys were fantastic in telling me what I was looking for when I needed to buy the part for it so that I could hook a hose up to it. The only downside is that adapter is 40 bucks. It was like $42. That's a lot. So somebody else came through and had an idea of putting a couple of pieces together, and all told with this, I'm probably less than $20. So they say it's worked for them quite a bit. I'm gonna find out if it works for me. Question is, when I turn it on, does it blow out and does it leak? So far, I don't see any leaks, and it certainly didn't blow out. Looks solid enough. Let's find a hose and see if I can get the hose to work. Now I'm using that same hose that I couldn't get to work before, but I ran 120-foot steel fish tape through it, cleared it out. So let's see how we go. Now hopefully whatever's in it will clear out, and maybe it'll work a little bit better. Eventually we'll actually have a pipe down here and a faucet. She'll be able to water the flowers that way. One darn thing at a time. Someone asked if we'd sealed the bottom of the structure where the panels and the concrete meet. Yes. The bottom, there are two plates with there's a layer of foam. It's, I don't know, millimeter, 2 millimeters, yep. 1 or 2 millimeters, probably 2 millimeters thick. The layer of foam has the treated lumber sitting on top of it. That's fastened to the edge of the foundation all the way around. And then on top of that, there is another piece, which I always refer to as the foot plate or bottom plate. And that is what goes in the bottom of all the SIPS panels. That has SIP seal between it and the treated lumber, and it gets foamed into all the SIP panels. So from the foundation up into the panel is completely sealed, or is theoretically completely sealed.
I love this question. Over the build so far, what has been the worst thing on, off on camera and off camera, and what's been the best thing. I think there's not been one moment where it was like disaster. Do you remember?
We've had some disasters.
Yeah, but they were things that were just part of the build. They weren't like a thing where this is gonna stop the build, or this is gonna be. We just had moments where it's been very unpleasant sometimes.
Yeah, so we have a lot of wind up here. We have some windstorms.
Oh, yeah.
And so coming up here and finding that a couple $1,000s worth of building materials got blown that direction.
Yeah.
This, insulating foam for the foundation. That was a couple $1,000s worth of insulating. We still find it out in the woods. Just busted up pieces of it everywhere.
Not only that, you had laid all the pecs down, and the pecs were coming out of the, what do you call it? It was coming away from the foundation.
Yeah. So we kept having delays in order to get the concrete put in because it was too wet to get the concrete trucks up here. And we got a call from our concrete guy, and there'd been a big windstorm in the previous 2 days, and it had literally taken all of the metal mesh reinforcement for the concrete and peeled the whole thing back, just ripped the whole thing back. It broke our plumbing pipes, and it messed up the PEX piping that we had for the hot water heat in the floors. And so we ended up having to dig up and patch all of our, well, not all of it, but probably about three or four places we had a break in the waste plumbing. Basically just repair everything. I mean, that's a long story of how it
But it was not as bad as we thought it was. It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. It was bad, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it set us back a few weeks, and then it got wet again. So we still ended. I think it was probably like another month or so before we got cement in here.
What's the funniest thing that's happened, or the best? I would just say, there's times when I look at driving up here and I see this house and I think, oh my gosh, we did that. Like, that's how far we've gotten. Putting in the door was definitely, like, this door is one of my highlights of this whole build because I love it so much. And that was
Yeah, I think funny things, we're laughing all the time. It doesn't always get caught by camera. Sometimes it can't catch it from camera because we're making inappropriate jokes. So yeah, we edit a lot of stuff out.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happens up here. I mean, you're up here all day long, day after day. The dog coming back covered in poop, I mean, that's almost a normal thing. Yeah. Let the dog out and he finds something that pooped and he rolls in it.
Why did you choose the design? Well, the architect of this house is a friend of ours, and he did a great job of the design. It's a post and beam with SIP, and it's a modern fill, a modern industrial farmhouse is what I would call it.
Had somebody ask you about the septic. They're putting in septic on their house right now. They have two 1,000 gallon tanks, 480 feet of lateral, and their costs right now are about $3,000. So they're doing the install themselves. I hired out the septic, and up here, because of the way the soil is up here on this part of the mountain, it does not drain fast enough to do a standard septic tank. So you end up with, we have a two-stage, so we've got two tanks. We've got a large cement standard tank, and then there is a big fiberglass tank. I believe this one, I think this one is 600 gallons. In 2017, we had this system put in, and it was, I think we got $14,000 in cost in it, is what it was by the time it was done. So significantly more than doing it yourself. I think if you hire it out, a standard tank is about $8,000 in this area. And so when we found out it was going to be about double, that was kind of a punch, but that's just what you got to do if you want to be up here. That was required. I mean, the county's not going to give you a building permit if you try to do a standard septic up here.
Kind of need to flush.
Yeah, you got to be able to flush.
Are you rich? It must be nice to be rich. I don't know where that comes from because we would just write a check.
Yeah.
I would love to write the check. I would say, oh, I love this design and move on, but no, we got to build it if we want it.
Yeah, we're not rich. It must be nice to be rich. I agree with you. It must. I want to find out. I don't know. I wouldn't be building it myself. I mean, if we had the money, we would have. Heck, we might have bought someplace that was already built and just moved in.
We couldn't find anything though that we liked within our price range.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. If we were rich, we'd have a different price range.
Yeah, that must be nice.
Yeah, we knew what we wanted. We knew the kind of house that we wanted to have, and we knew what kind of a place we wanted to live in. And the only way we can do that is if we take something else and make it into that. So we found land. It was wooded, and we had it cleared. We had no idea how much. When you see a field, you have no idea usually how much work went into that and how much that cost.
Yep.
You don't find that sort of thing out until you try to build one. And the realization that building a field is a lot of money and a lot of work. So, you know.
And we will be doing that for quite a few years after we do this house. So the next thing is to concentrate on the land, and we want some animals. We want meat goats, but yeah.
So that's all to come later on. I'm gonna hold on to the rest of these questions until next time. We gotta get to work.
All right.
We'll see y'all later. Well, the batteries ran out in the camera, and my battery's pretty much running out today too. So I couldn't bear to get back up on a ladder. We decided to come home and call it a weekend. We'll see you guys next time. Oh, and there's a subscribe button on there. You should hit that. And find that notification bell and hit it too. And we'll see you guys next time.
Happy Father's Day, babe.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Oh my God. Not gonna make it.
Here you are, here, right here.
Oh my God. Do I get danger pay?